Our Zerg player, he starts to the bottom right of the map. He starts for Team MVP, formerly known as Monster. He's now called
MVP Naxor.
Naxor. And he's up against the winner of the last game. He's in the center of his chest. He is
Axiom Heart.
Hart puts Axiom-Acer to 2-2. They're tied with their opposing team. What is Hart going to do? What kind of opening will we see from him? Will he go into early Reapers to scout what's going on? Will he go into normal expand? What will the Zerg player do here? There are a lot of options for him. I'm really, really excited to see this match. It's a matchup that we didn't have here today.
right, and it's a matchup that is really exciting right now, especially once the games go. The game is somewhere between mid and late game, where the Vipers might be coming out. We've got Terran drops going all over the map with a speed boost. It can get really exciting because what the Zerg struggles with oftentimes is the medevacs, but what the Terran oftentimes has to deal with is the Vipers, and sometimes in combination with Ultralists.
Yeah, Ultralists are very strong in this matchup in the late game. They cleave through everything. And we have Hard opening here with Gas. Most likely, which is the build that we see all the time now, is a Reaper opening, 1 or 2 Reapers, and then a transition into Hellions. This is what most players really prefer. But there are different things that he can do. We saw him already opening with Widow Mines against Protoss. He could do the same thing against a Zerg player.
And speaking of Zergs, Noxo goes for a hatch first into Gas. Into Gas is normally what you have to do against Terran these days to be safe after the hatch first, but some people are even skipping the hatch first altogether because they don't feel safe against potentially the 888 Reaper build.
Yeah, usually you see the hatch either way, and you can get away against the 888. The problem with the 888 is that no, it's an 88.
You're right. There's
another 8 in there somewhere. But the thing is, it leaves the Terran economy in a very difficult spot. If you don't do a lot of damage, then the Terran player will be behind, and Zergs are getting a little bit more confident in defending against early Reapers, just keeping them at bay until the Queen's out. His reaction to take Gas is also triggered by him scouting that there is going to be a potential Reaper opening for Hard. And he will get either speed, or he might actually also try to push out with Roaches a little bit. He has those two options. And the Reaper will try to scout and find out what exactly it's going to be. Yeah,
he's going to want to stick around as long as possible. Notice he doesn't start a second Reaper. That's an ironic scene in Overlord with the Terran Dominion flag.
Yeah, I feel this map is a little bit biased.
Yeah, maybe so. But we see that the Reaper comes in here, sees the hatch. He actually does start a second Reaper, though. A little bit delayed. He wants to get the factory up as well.
Yeah, and here comes speed. He has 100 gas, that's all that he uses, and he pulls out immediately. And that's all the information that the Reaper needs. You want to know, do you get more than the 100 gas, or do you only get 100 and then pull back?
You know what's interesting about this is the second Reaper can just give you so much more freedom to poke at the Lings before the Queens are out. But at the same time, it really delays your reactor because it's the same cost as the reactor to get up 50 gas, and so you can see the factory's going to be done a little bit faster than the reactor, which is normally not the case.
In the early game, as a Zerg, you have to be careful with your Zerglings and your drones. They will be slower than the Reaper, even on creep, because the Reaper has this slight speed boost. But as soon as the Queen's out, you are usually fine. You need your speed upgrade to chase the Reapers and to catch up to them. That's why we have this early gas invested into the metabolic boost for the Zerg player. He has the Queens in position to protect the drones, and as soon as the upgrades are done, those Reapers won't do anything anymore.
Look at those unbuildable bricks. They're not unbuildable plates on this map, they're unbuildable bricks at the DMZ. Well, Reaper's still alive, and that's something that he can use at any point in time just to go see if there's a hatchery somewhere. Probably not going to be used for harassment, but they can be. It's all up to Hart at this point. That's how he wants to use them. He starts his starport.
Yeah, we should see a third base very soon for our Zerg player. He didn't take additional gas yet, has the Lings there, and the speed is by now done, so Reapers are not going to be an issue anymore. Even if he sees Hellions, he will be able to surround them and take them down. But if he doesn't go into additional gas, I would expect to see him with a third base. Now takes the Extractor, has 3 back in his first Geyser. And this is going to be quite the interesting build. It doesn't look like he has any ideas or any plans of taking the third just yet.
Yeah, just not yet at the very least. He's making a few more drones here. And we could see one of these Roach pushes. It starts to seem less likely now.
With the Roach push, you use a different timing.
Yeah,
you're way past that. We have 7 minutes into the game. If you want to hit that, you usually try to do it before the siege tanks are out. And this is not going to happen
It starts to look more like Muta's. But I was going to say he needs a lair, though, before he can do that. There's the lair.
There are different options what you can do against against Terran these days, and a lot of Zerg players will still go into Mutaling, Baneling. You could have troubles against Widow Mines. It depends on how annoying your opponent is with them, how many he builds, and what he does with them. Does he play defensive? Does he try to be a little bit more containing? Or is he just randomly placing them across the map at paths where he assumes that you will go down at some point? But still, you know, Ling Muta Baneling can still work very well.
If you want to go Ling Muta Baneling, first thing you have to do is look at yourself in the mirror, and if you see that you're a Startail Life, then you're probably okay. Otherwise, you get to think about it for a minute.
I talked to Scarlett a lot, and she said that what Terran players, in her experience, do now a lot more. Well, let's focus on this drop a little bit, but yeah, already repelled. What kind of fell out of style a lot is bio tanks. Instead, you go for bio Widow Mines, and when you attack, you just borrow the Widow Mines, you try to lure your opponent into them. So this is something that you can do and that we see a lot. But Hart doesn't really look like he's going into Widow Mines.
Yeah, it doesn't look that way. I mean, he just made a few defensively, and or actually used them in the drop. Now he can use them defensively if he wants to, but no more than 2.
And what we now have is not Ling Muta Baneling style. Instead, we have the second option that a lot of Zerg players will use. We go see Roaches with double upgrades, speed upgrade, and here come those Widow Mines. He doesn't see it. He didn't realize it. Oh my god, that was lucky for him. He only lost 3 or 4 drones. This was really lucky with 2 Widow Mines right in your natural, in your mineral line.
Could have been much worse. Now he targets them, though. That's pretty smart.
Here comes the Overseer, yeah.
Yeah, he needs to get out of there with a drop at the very least. He's not going to be able to save these, because if...
is the cooldown ready for a second shot, though?
Just not. Really nicely done, though. No hesitation on that Overseer.
You know, for a second, I'm really wondering if... I actually do not know if that was a conscious choice to not cluster those drones up by retreating, but just taking the hits and hoping that one of them... He knew that one of the Widow Mines was close to the extractor, so sometimes you even get away without losing a single drone. But even taking the second shot, I'm actually wondering if he didn't see it in time, or if it was a conscious decision to say, like, I have low saturation in my main base at this point in time. I think it was 17. I can get away with only losing 2 or 3 drones if I don't cluster them up.
It's a really good thought. It's certainly possible. Sometimes even when you face Hellion run-bys, depending on where the Hellions are when you see them, sometimes it's best to not pull, because you stack up when you pull.
We saw what happened earlier to Tails when he pulled his probes a second too late, then they were still in the range of the Widow Mine and he lost 11. So if you are not there when the Widow Mine starts to burrow, you might be better off just leaving them on the mineral line and taking your, cutting your losses and being like, okay, I'm going to lose 4, I'm going to lose 5, but it's not like he's going to kill my entire harvester.
And if you lose 4 or 5 as a Zerg and your opponent loses 2 Widow Mines, it's okay. Roach bust through here is going to be a big problem for Hart. He's playing a little bit greedy at home. You know, he doesn't have siege tanks anywhere near this.
This is a timing that Zergs like to use a lot more on 3 bases. As soon as they take the 3rd, pushing out with 1-1 Roaches. It's something that we've seen quite a bit, and you can really see that Hart isn't ready for this.
Yeah, he's really not. He's forced to lose so many SCVs. He has to lift. And until he has more siege tanks, he can't really fight this.
He's losing so many harvesters now, and this is exactly what this is designed to do. This doesn't necessarily kill the Terran, but you want to do damage to the economy. And with the SCVs that are already down and dying, we have now a 30 supply harvester lead for our Zerg play here.
Yeah, as soon as Stim ran out, he went to fight some of those Marines too, because he's going, looks like, into Mutiling Baneling as a follow-up to this. Yeah. And with less Marines on the map, this is great for him. 18 workers killed.
Naxo did this quite well. This is a Roach timing when you take the 3rd base that is getting more popular. You see a lot more often, and now the transition is going to be into Mutiling Baneling. So this is really interesting. It's just a little bit of an adjustment to the Wings of Liberty style that we had, and this is a strategy that you've seen players like Moonblade use a lot. A lot of Zerg players are trying to work with this. I actually talked to Scarlett about exactly these builds. She says that especially Hyun and she herself really like to use those timings these days.
Yeah, and the timing that we saw for that Roach push was spot on. No tanks. Yep, perfectly done. And now there's a lot of flexibility for Naxo at this point. Yeah, he's ahead a little bit of supply. But more importantly, he spread his creep out quite far. He had Hart backed up to a wall for a really long period of time, and that gave him the ability to make these Mutas get those Banelings out.
Very important now with the Mutalisk switch is the speed upgrade for the Overlords and the Overseers. The Overseer will benefit from the speed upgrade, and they will be just a tiny little bit slower than the Mutalisks. Without this upgrade, the Overseer will always trail very far behind. So if you want to make sure that you don't run into Widow Mines and you make one Overseer part of your Mutalisk composition, you need this upgrade.
Oh, wow, he's actually just going to charge in here. The tanks are not sieged. He is focused on the mutas. The splitting is just not there. Now he starts to split.
The Mutalists have to be careful, though. The Marines were very well split, and they are still alive, so the Mutalists can't fight. Even with the Roaches, he has to back off first.
Yeah, you know, definitely a very headstrong, brutal attack there by Noxo, but finally, once Hart had the split, he was able to defend that pretty well, and now the reactors are starting to fall, though, in the main base.
Yeah, he's going in, and here comes the drop defense. He could try to take the drop out before it gets too dangerous, and he does. Takes the drop and the Marines out.
This is looking worse and worse for Hart. He needs to respond to this. Turret's in a good place here, and he tries to pick off a few of these mutas.
Yeah, trying to move in. Here comes the rest of the army on the low ground. The ground forces are moving in. The Zerglings trying to surround. The siege tank not sieged.
His forces are just too split. He has to run all the way back from his main base now where he was defending the mutas. This is a great map for Muta Harass with all that area that you have to walk to go from your main base to your third base. Your ground forces are not going to be able to defend, and Noxo is just taking them apart. GG!
Wow, that was really well done by our Zerg player. MVP Noxo, formerly known as Monster, takes out Hart, and once again Team MVP is in the lead.
You know, you and I were thinking we were going to maybe see Sniper or DRG, but I'm looking at this player right now, and all I'm thinking is I think they made the right choice. He certainly looked overwhelming with his builds there.
You can really tell that he prepared quite a bit for this. And this is just MVP with such a huge lineup. They can go for snipers. They can go for players that train one specific matchup to deal with an opponent.
And if you're Axiom-Acer and you're preparing, you're thinking maybe I'm going to see Sniper, thinking maybe I'm going to see DRG. Then Monster comes out, he plays a different style that you're not accustomed to, and that can really throw you off.
I'm wondering who they are going to pick next. I can certainly see MMA coming out now. I mean, we saw one Terran player going up against the Monster, but still against Noxo, but still I could see MMA playing. I could see Scarlet also coming out right now, but I feel, you know, the thing is how she talked to us. I thought that she might not be the ace. That if she comes out, she will be either second or third, because it's a matter of confidence. And everyone in the team told her earlier that they want her to play today, but she was like, I'm not quite sure if I'm confident enough yet to make that happen. So if it's a matter of confidence, going out as the ace is always a little bit tricky. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure if she will really be the next player for them.
ZVZ is very muta-based right now. Monster used mutas quite well in that last game. It was obviously a bit different than how you use mutas in ZVZ. I'm curious to see if she's going to be confident going into a ZVZ here. It's possible.
Yeah, I really think we might see MMA here, but either way, it's going to be a great game. And there he is. It is him. We don't see Scarlet today, but we see MMA.
Yeah, MMA joined Team Acer after the disbanding of Slayers, and he has the opportunity now to play in the GSTL. I'm looking forward to seeing how he's going to do. He looked decent in the preseason, but now he's had a lot more time to prepare, because at that time he was still in Code A, and then he had to prepare for Code A a little bit while he was also preparing for the preseason. Now things are different. He's only playing Heart of the Swarm.
And the preseason he was defeated by Rune when Rune made his debut game. I like the choice here. For reasons mentioned, I feel that Scarlet would have been not the right choice here. I feel when she comes out the next time, she might be the starting player, she might be second or third, but her taking the role of being the ace and shouldering all the responsibility, I feel it's a little bit too early in this environment.
Yeah, I could not agree more. You know, maybe if you're up against a team like Ennis Hosa as well, a team that's not so stacked, someone who hasn't shown as much results, maybe you feel a little bit more comfortable pulling out. But against MVP, you've got a limited amount of players you can use, and MMA seems to, since he has the more experience, I think is the better choice here, especially when Scarlet herself has said, you know, I'm not so confident right now. If you're able to say that willingly to your teammates have to listen.
Well, before we head into this potential last game of the day, we are heading into a 5-minute break, guys. As soon as we are back, we see MMA dealing with Noxo, aka Monster. See you guys in 5.